शुक्लांबरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणी विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. Okay, so namaste everyone, Hari Om. So there might be a few people, maybe you are joining today for the first time. So I hope everyone has gone through the first two class recordings. First was the introduction to what exactly we'll be learning, and now this is we had started with Yogashastram last week. We had almost completed. A few parts are remaining, and today we start with the next topic, that is a brief introduction to the four Vedas. So we start with that. Anyone, you have any doubt in this topic of Yogashastram till now, or those who have heard to the first two sessions or so, you want to ask something or maybe share something, that is also fine. Yeah, Venkatesh ji.
I was not present physically in the last class. I saw your notes.
You can also listen to the recording. Did you listen?
Yeah, I did listen. I just need some little more input on the Swadhyaya, because I think it's a Vedic knowledge and other inputs. I mean, is there anything more specific that they recommend?
Okay, I'll tell you. On Swadhyaya, I'll specify. Yeah. What else? Anyone else? No. Okay. So we'll continue. I hope this topic is clear to everyone. We'll continue. Anyone you have not listened to the last week audio for Yogashastram, you just go through that. So Yogashastram, one of the 6 darshanas, and mainly Yogashastram, it is not limited to physical yoga. Physical yoga is just one form of Yogashastram, or you can say one part which deals with Hatha Yoga. Now the main components of this chapter were of this book, that is Tapaha, I told you, is meditation or efforts. Swadhyaya, literally, if you see the notes, study of Vedas, Vedangas and so on. And at the same time, to be specific, it can be the Vedas and Vedangas. But now when we say Vedas and Vedangas, they are not limited to one text. You have various other in that. Now for example, the Vedangas that are there, you have 6 Vedangas. So I think we had seen what are the Vedangas. Out of this, even if you choose one topic also, that is more than enough. It doesn't mean that we don't study the other topics. But the thing with all of us happens is, the least is we don't even know the names of many things. Okay, Vedas are there, 4 Vedas. Vedangas, there are 6 Vedangas. If you know this, you see now in the world, if you see how many of us actually know even this. There are so many people who are not aware even of this. We should be happy that we have reached at least till this level. We know something that is that exists called the Vedas and the Vedangas and the gist of everything. I think I told you that too. So when we say Swadhyaya, it's not, again, we cannot say that there is a benchmark. You have to know this minimum or you have to know that minimum. But then depending on the topic that is there, say for example, now if it is Yogashastram, Patanjali Muni's Yogashastram is quite deep when he writes more and more. So maybe every day, and though you practice what you have learned till now, but still delving more, reading the text more and improving our own knowledge. Now for example, you consider me. If I am telling you something about Yogashastram, doesn't mean that I'm an expert in that, right? Maybe I've read a bit about that, maybe I listened to few people talking about Yogashastram, little I refer to the original text. So this is my Swadhyaya that I do. Someone else amongst you, from the 50 people, I tell someone, you tell something about Yogashastram, maybe you listen to me, whatever I told you, based on that you make a few points. You listen to someone speaking, or one person will say, I don't want to listen to anyone else speaking. I will open the original book and study. So this is my way of Swadhyaya. So Swadhyaya is nothing but Swayam Adhyayanam, meaning the efforts that we put in to study by ourselves. There is no fixed definition for this, but doing Swadhyayam is very, very important. So here also, now if you have studied Yogashastram, it doesn't mean that I know everything about Yogashastram. I have to still go deep. I have to delve deep into that. So though we know about things, we have to still go deeper and deeper. Only then our knowledge increases. That's the reason we say learning takes place always, right? So though we tell others something, still learning is continuous. So this is Swadhyayam, wherein continuously, or you can say an example that will connect ourselves to today's times. Now say technology is there, or maybe so many things you see in today's world. We cannot say that no, I don't know about this. This is also swadhyayam. Maybe you learn something that is applicable to today's world, maybe some things related to technology or something. You say, no, I am not tech savvy, I don't know about things. We cannot say that, right? So as the world changes, we also learn something. So adhyayanam, though in this context, with regards to Yoga Shastram, it includes Vedas, Vedangas and our knowledge books. But still, Swadhyayam is applicable to all of our lives, wherein continuously we keep updating ourselves, upgrading ourselves. Nowadays we use a very nice term, upskilling, right? Upskilling is nothing but you know things, you are already qualified, but still you learn a few more skills that are there just to grow ourselves more. So mainly in a professional world we use these terms. So the same things that we use, upskilling, updating, upgrading, that is nothing but Swadhyaya. Swadhyaya is having our own you can say a timetable also, wherein you study and upgrade your knowledge. So it is a continuous process. So Swadhyaya. Next is Bhakti. So why the Swadhyaya now? Coming back to this context of Yoga Shastram, just merely practicing is not enough. Only if you know the right way to practice. Now someone says Yoga Shastram, a yoga instructor is there, he will do yogasanas and show you, so you are practicing. But then you must always open the book and see, maybe you are doing say Padmasana, how exactly it has to be done, or what is maybe behind that, what is the study that has been told, or while doing pranayama, how you control your breath, what exactly. So the notes. So your Swadhyayam, it means even the theory part. So knowing and doing only the practical aspects is not enough, but even knowing the theory behind things, why something has been done, that is also important. So having theoretical knowledge as well as practical knowledge is equally important. Next is we talked about bhakti. That is there. Bhakti is nothing but we put in our efforts. Whatever we do, we have to be devoted to that. And the last stage was samadhi. So we had stopped here. Samadhi. Samadhi, Kriya Yoga. Now Kriya Yoga is again a field in itself. A few people, I think you practice Kriya Yoga also. So Kriya Yoga is nothing but you have those small sessions also. I don't know if anyone has done that. So wherein they teach you some ways of attaining Samadhi. Samadhi is nothing but wherein we have a full control on our breath and so on. So mainly pranayama techniques, that is nothing but Kriya Yoga. So Samadhi is sam a plus dha, wherein we attain a particular state. Now mostly Samadhi, it is related, or you can say we consider that to be like death. Death, or you can say wherein everything goes away, but the literal meaning is there is no disturbance at all, we are almost still. There is no, you can say, when our sages also, when we say that yogic people or yogic souls, divine sages, they attain samadhi, that means they establish a control from all over, from all sides, from all sense organs, their breath and everything. So they have attained that stage, they have practiced yoga, so therefore they can attain the samadhi stage. But all of us, most of us, it doesn't happen that way. Death just comes and takes in. That's the reason when everyone dies, we don't say samadhi, right? Only when great souls die, sages die, those who have practiced yoga, only for them we say samadhi, because they control their senses and that's how they attain samadhi. Next is avidya. Avidya, it means ignorance. Now, why avidya is also, why Patanjali Muni has discussed avidya in his Yoga Shastram is, I'll give you an example. Now, say for example, there is someone who doesn't know anything about yoga, or maybe yogasanas and so on. If you do something maybe for the first time, someone is hearing for Padmasana for the first time. He doesn't know what exactly is Padmasana. He doesn't know the way of doing things. He does Padmasana in a very wrong way. Maybe he doesn't keep his legs properly. Obviously, he is going to experience pain, right? Now, I'm giving you examples from Hatha Yoga, that is physical yoga, so that we can relate to it better. So, obviously, it is going to pain for him because he has just heard that Padmasana means keeping your legs one over other and maybe sitting still. But he doesn't know the right way of doing Padmasana. Whereas you learn it from a person or so, or maybe you read a way in which Padmasana is done, then it is fine. But you don't know, you just hear it roughly from somewhere that this is how it has to be done. Or even Vajrasanam for that matter. Vajrasanam, how do we do Vajrasana? We fold our legs and you have to sit. Some people you see, they will sit on the floor, they'll keep their legs on both sides. That is not to be done. That is similar to Mandukasana. A slight difference, but then we don't know. We feel that both the positions are quite same or similar to each other. So you see a slight difference is there between each of the asanas that we do. So this why it happens. We feel that the position is similar, but then there is a difference. So this happens because of avidya, wherein it can lead to problems. If you don't do things the right way, it can lead to problems. So therefore avidya is ignorance. So this is why now you know the importance of swadhyaya. Swadhyaya is knowing about things. Practically you see someone doing, that is fine, but knowing the right way of doing, studying it well and then doing is something which is very very important. And if a person avidya, due to avidya what happens is, we are maybe now this avidya, this concept you can also relate. One is this hatha yoga, I gave you an example. You can also relate it to Gita, the yoga definition that Krishna uses in Gita, wherein he tells Arjuna through different yoga, Sankhya, Karma, Jnana, Sannyasa, Bhakti, Purushottama and so on. What he tells is, if you are caught in this material world because of avidya, because of ignorance, you can never come out of this. That's the reason why if you see the gist of the Gita only, Krishna there he wails and Arjuna there he wails and cries, saying that how can I kill my own people and so on. So at that time Krishna gives an explanation saying that you have done your best, you have tried to convince them, everything has been done, but now when there is no option that is left, you don't have anything that you can do, war is the only solution. And don't be attached to your feelings and so on, because ultimately what remains is this body is going to die. What you are doing is all the soul and the inner self is going to come and meet me. So therefore you don't have to worry with regards to the body, that is temporary. So even though you kill your people, now even in the case of Duryodhana, Arjuna wails that Duryodhana is evil, he has caused me so much of trouble, but then still he is my cousin brother. Dronacharya, he is my acharya. Or Bhishma is one of the most senior most members in our family. How can I fight with such people? Or Kripacharya and so on. But then for here Krishna tells that even though they did all this, they still supported the evil path, right? They did not come and support the Pandavas, and that too in case of Kauravas, Dronacharya and so on. They knew that Pandavas were correct. In fact, Dronacharya's most, can say, favorite disciple was Arjuna, but still he played a war against him. But now does this mean that just because someone has done something wrong, should we also do that way wrong? Does Krishna mean this? It's not like that, but what Krishna tells Arjuna is that if you are going to be caught here, ultimately what is happening is you think in you can say long term. What you see, say for example, if the Mahabharata war had not taken place, Krishna had listened to Arjuna and told that okay, you think that these are your cousins, these are your teachers and so on. Ultimately they have been causing you so much of trouble, right? 12 years you have to go to Vanavasa, 13th year you lived in incognito, then again so much of insult you had to face, your own wife was ill-treated, so many hurdles. You went to the forest, the house where you lived, that was on fire. And in spite of doing all this, also towards the end, I myself went as a Shanti Duta, told Kauravas, told Duryodhana, you give the share of the Pandavas to them, you take your share and be happy. I went there, still he did not agree to that. Further, I also told him that you want Narayana or you want, that is me myself, or you want my Narayani Sena. He said that I want your Narayani Sena. What will you want, Narayana? What will you do? So I did everything. That is from our side, we have done everything. But still, if it doesn't work, then nothing can be done. War is something which is the only solution. So here again coming back, Ajnanam or Avidya, wherein this was actually the Ajnanam or Avidya of Arjuna, wherein he did not see or he did not think from a future point of view. He just thought of the conditions then. He forgot whatever had taken place in the past. He just thinks about what will happen. He just thinks about the relationships that are there. So Krishna tells that don't be addicted to this material world. All these relations are temporary. In this birth, Duryodhana is your cousin. After a few years, he is going to die. In this birth, someone is your teacher. After the next birth, you don't know what you will be. You will attain some other body. So don't be attached to that. Be aware of what will happen so that tomorrow you can take a good step and a good future will await you. So this is how the avidya or the ignorance of Arjuna changed. So when this person does, when you know the right way, when that is you are free from knowledge. Now I'll give you one more example for this. say now, if you know about certain things, we don't have to depend on other people also. Say for example, you know about now say Yogashastram. If you have studied about Yogashastram, or why we are even studying all these sessions, if you see, when we have proper knowledge about things, nobody can come and question us also. That is, we are free from avidya, that is ignorance. But when we don't know something, say for example, someone comes and asks you, what is the Gita? Gita, I have heard it is 18 chapters, it is a conversation between Krishna and Arjuna. This is the basic information. But then you listen to someone more speaking about the Gita also, you gain knowledge, so now you exactly know what is the Gita. So tomorrow someone maybe shows you a wrong picture of the Gita. I'm just giving you one example of Gita, it can be anything. Or maybe they come and question you something, or they try to, now there are so many people who try to question and poke us, right, just to prove us wrong. When you have studied something, when you have gained knowledge, you know what exactly is there in that. There is no question for avidya, there is no question for ajnana. Most of our life's problems, when do they arise? Wherein we don't know about certain things, or we are not sure about things. But when you are confident, when you surely know that this is how it has to be done, there is no place for any doubt, there is no place for sorrow at all. This is what Krishna tries to tell in the Gita also. Now let me tell you all these principles that the Lord says in the Gita or any other scripture or Yogashastram also. It is not limited only to religion or spirituality alone. This is applicable everywhere. Say for example, there is a woman, she does household work, right? If she knows to cook a dish, say for example, she makes dal. Let's take a simple example. The woman knows to make dal very well. This is jnana. She has proper knowledge of that. But maybe there is another woman, she doesn't know properly. Little she has heard, okay, this is how it has to be done. It looks yellow in color. Maybe instead of sugar, instead of salt, she puts something else. Then that is ajnanam. The dish is not going to be proper. It is going to lead to problems, right? So knowledge or jnana of each and everything is very, very important. So further, or even say if you go to your workplace, at your work you do something, there also in all the responsibilities or whatever we do, that also you should have, if you have proper jnana. Okay, today I have to maybe make an Excel sheet. If you know how to use Excel, you can make the Excel sheet. If you don't know, that is ajnanam, right? So that's the reason whenever most of the people you are working, right, somewhere, so whenever we apply for jobs, you have something called the job description, right? So in that they tell you this, these are your responsibilities. So if you feel that it is matching with your profile, we apply for that, right? We apply for that job. That is, I have jnanam about this. If I don't know about this, this is ajnanam. So I'm just giving you everyday examples so that we can relate. So the concept of avidya, why here Patanjali mentions in Yogashastram, is knowledge of everything is very, very essential. If you don't have knowledge of something, you are at loss, and it will further lead to problems. So here it has been mentioned in the context of the Gita. You can consider mainly Krishna tells that you try to realize the ultimate, that is nothing but the Brahman or Ishvara, so that you know the difference. If you get addicted to this material world, thinking these are your cousins, these are your maybe your teachers and so on, then you will not know what is actually truth and what is your own self, where your life goes about, and so on. Now here someone will have a question. Does this mean that I should not be attached to my own people? Someone will surely come and then say, okay, Arjuna also attacked his brother, the Pandavas did that, I will also kill my brother tomorrow. Or I will also maybe fight against my teachers. I will also be against my family. Should we do that? Now, it depends. Now, it's not that the Pandavas waged the war on day one. I told you the story just some time back. So many things had happened with them. Krishna also tells the same thing to Arjuna. Arjuna in the first chapter of the Gita, Arjuna Vishada Yoga, he tells all his sorrow. At that time, Krishna, what he tells and makes him understand is, from our side we have done our best. When there is nothing which can be changed, there is no other option, you have to always think about your own dharma, swadharma, and at that time whatever is the best for you, you have to do that. So then only you will realize what is important, then only you will be able to realize the supreme and the reality. So therefore, avidya, don't be ignorant, don't be caught here and there. Someone comes and influences, you will be caught in that. Now all the principles of the Gita, let's not go very deep. Say Brahman, Ishvara, why should I talk about all this? Everyday life, all this is applicable. Most of us, we come across frauds, right? I hope nobody has fallen into that trap, but still we get so many calls, right? You want a credit card, you want a debit card, you want this scheme, you want that scheme. Now most of us, we are aware of such frauds taking place, so we are free from that. Therefore we are free from avidya. but there can be people. That's the reason you see most of the crimes and so they happen with senior citizens with regards to this. So you tell the elders in your family, if you get a call from someone like this, they tell you to click a link or so, you don't do that because they are not knowing about it. So avidya. So being ignorant, ajnanam, avidya leads to problems. So most of us, if we are free from that, it is applicable in all aspects. In the context of Yoga Shastram, it is related to the Gita, wherein Arjuna, the concept of Brahman or Ishvara has been told. Krishna explains that to Arjuna. Okay, till here is it clear? Yes?
Yes, Rishmi.
Okay. Okay. Next is the concept of Ashtanga Yoga, which is discussed further in Yoga Shastram by Patanjali. Ashtanga Yoga, Ashta Anga, Ashta 8 Anga, limbs or body. So this is one concept from the Yoga Sutras that Patanjali mentions. Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana and Samadhi. So these are all the first 5 things we do externally through our external body, and the last 3, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi, has to be done inside. So only if we have a control on our external limbs, we can control ourselves further inside. That's the reason why whenever most of us we practice yoga also, you do your physical asanas first, and then towards the end of the session you have pranayama and so on. So let's a gist of everything. Yama, Niyama. Yama is nothing but control on the sense organs that are there, 5 sense organs. So that's the reason if you go to a yoga class or so, the yoga instructor tells calm your eyes, calm your ears and so on. So that's the reason we do different yogasanas and so on. So wherein all our senses are controlled. That is Yama. Now Yama further, it also means when we say control on our sense organs, it also to some extent the yamas as per Patanjali Yoga Shastram deals with a few qualities which are imbibed. Like for example, ahimsa, non-violence, not developing hatred or not harming other living beings, that is ahimsa. Second is satya, always speaking the truth. Asteya, not to steal anything. Brahmacharya, celibacy. Aparigraha, that is to be free from aham, not telling it, to be free from selfishness. So this is what Yama in Yamaha, this rule at this time, this is what Patanjali, these are the 5 yamas that Patanjali mentions. He says that if you develop these qualities, ahimsa, satya, asteya, brahmacharya and aparigraha, you will have established a good control over your senses. So these are the 5 qualities that are mentioned which come under Yama. Next is Niyama, just as a word tells, certain rules which we have to follow. So whenever now most of us, what we do in today's times is maybe we follow some diet or certain rules we do. You practice yoga, you do asanas, you go to the gym, like that, different things we do, right? So what is all that? Or maybe only once in a day you have rice, night you have something light. Certain rules we set for our own body. Why do we do this? So that our body has a control over everything, and so this is something which is called niyama. So you can say good habits that we develop for the betterment of our body. Now why so much has been told for our body in niyama? Now if you are saying, no, don't focus on the material world and so on, why should we focus more on the body then? This question comes for niyama here. So niyama or maybe asanas, why do we do different positions? Ultimately only if our physical body is good, our mentally also will be strong. Very simple example, most of us, if say for example you have a fever, you're down with fever, you feel very weak, right? You cannot get up, you're always sleeping. At that time, mentally do we feel like doing anything? We don't feel like doing. When we are sick also, you have a fever, headache, or maybe something very small, but still we don't feel like doing anything. Therefore, as a part of Ashtanga Yoga, initially a lot of focus has been made on in fact the first 5, Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, these 5 concentrate on the external body. This shows that external body, physically to our, you can say level best, we should try to keep ourselves fit. Only if you are fit physically, you can do something mentally, right? Now this doesn't mean that we take, okay, now you are already fit, but still over care of our body, that doesn't mean here. So you have to be very careful when you interpret the meaning. So Ashtanga Yoga only says the first 5 parts take care of your physical body, and then Krishna is telling in the Gita that don't be caught in this, know your inner soul, and so on. So is this like, you can find this contradictory? How come both have been told and they are like opposites? So we have to interpret it in the right way. So wherein here it is said that minimum certain observances, certain habits have to be followed so that our physical body is strong, doesn't suffer from any illness from our side. Still there is no guarantee, but still we should try our best, so that only then the other practices that are told by Krishna and a part of the Gita as well as Patanjali Sutras, Yogashastram, only then we can follow all the mental activities wherein we use our mind to do only if our physical body is strong. So niyamas are nothing but, first is shaucha, purity, clean. Body, mind, speech, everything should be clean and pure. Santosha, though some people translate santosham to be happiness, it is actually contentment. So being happy with what we have and accepting what we have, accepting what we don't have, and not looking at someone and feeling happy, oh they have this, I don't have this. So basically it is being positive. So santosha is being positive. All this is coming under niyamas. So these observances, if we do physically as well as mentally, we'll always be happy. Santosha is contentment or satisfaction. Tapas is being persistent, continuously putting in efforts to achieve what we do, or you can say self-discipline. Every day in the morning I have to get up at 6. Every day from 6:30 to 7:30 I should go for a walk. One day I go, next 4 days now I feel very lazy, next Sunday we'll see. This should not happen. Tapas is nothing but being persistent. Swadhyaya, again it comes here. Swadhyaya, study of the Vedas or study of different books. Study wherein we, now say for example, those people who are health conscious, what you do? You study different books, study different diet plans and so on, right? Why do we do that? Which food is healthy? Today's times, a very easy thing, you can Google. But then the same thing has been written in our books also, it has been mentioned in so many scriptures. So the least is we have to just open that and study well. So that is Swadhyaya. Last is Ishvara Pranidhanaha. Now here in the text that is there, I have not mentioned too much in detail, but now we are discussing, so I'll just tell you the names. Ishvara Pranidhana is thinking about the Lord. Thinking about the Lord, or maybe if someone says, no, what is God and so on, I don't believe in that form. Thinking about the supreme energy, that is niyama. So further, third is asana. Asana is nothing but the different asanas that we practice. It starts with sukhasana. Sukhasana is normal, you fold your legs and sit down. Today's times we have reached in such a, you can say such a situation that it becomes very difficult even for young people to sit down, right? Because we are not used to that. Every time you take a chair, you take a sofa, you take a bed, you sit on that. One day someone tells you to sit down, even for young children it becomes difficult, right? And many times it happens that it's not that we cannot sit down, but if there is a chair or you have to sit on the floor, we prefer sitting on that, right? This is human mentality, but then it is said that you should always sit on the floor, so that that's the reason why you see why our you see elderly people in your family, grandmothers or grandfathers, or maybe you can say 2-3 generations before, if you would have seen, they will always prefer sitting on the floor, or they will always prefer eating with their hands and so on. Maybe that is how they were grown, their lifestyle was, that's how they grew up, but still they always prefer doing this. Whereas today's times you see, no one, like in fact when there is no place, you see, you have a lot of guests in your house, every sofa, chair, bed, everything is covered, someone or the other is sitting. What do? Do we first sit down, or maybe someone, no, I'll stand in the side, right? So we always look where there is a place here and there. This is how our lifestyle has become today. But then the easiest, and you can say that the biggest, the comfort poster that is there, that is Sukhasana. Normally folding your legs and sit down, and then all the other asanas come. So asanas, if you practice, our body will also be physically strong, and when bodily we are strong, mental things, mental activities also we can do. Next is pranayama. Pranayama is a control of breath. So wherein our lungs also become strong, inhalation and exhalation improves. So fourth is pranayama. Pratyahara, prati ahara. Now that is, here what happens is to draw, or you can say pratyahara, prati ahara. That is how we have to break this word. So here what happens is, prati is against, and ahara is to bring near. So against and bring near, what exactly it is to bring or make ourselves aware of what, and at the same time controlling our sense organs from external objects. What is the meaning of this? Why should we talk so technical? What you are talking? You are boring on a Sunday morning with all such things. If you feel, pratyahara is something wherein Very simple example. You go to the market. Okay. You say that today I want to buy something for myself. I want to buy clothes. You go to a shop. You see you want to buy a shirt. Let's take an example. You see a lot of shirts are being hung, right? You like one, you purchase that. You don't come back. You want only one shirt. You see, no, that side there are more shirts that are kept. I will go and see that. You go there. There also you like one shirt. You purchase that. Now, still your mind is not satisfied. Still you feel, okay, there on that side, that corner also, some more shirts are there. Let me go and see. You go. There also you like something, you buy that. So you went to buy one shirt. You have now bought 3 shirts. Then while coming, you say now, okay, let me finally go back. While you go, then you see on the way you see some pants. Okay, anyway I bought a shirt, 3 shirts I bought, why not get a pant now? You see so many pants, you like a pant, you buy a pant. So here this is how you look at something and we get attracted. This can be for all other things also. I'll just give you an easy example that is there. You went for something but the main objective was to get one shirt. Instead of one shirt you looked at something else, you got attracted, you bought another, you saw a third one, you bought that, then you felt pant is already there but still you looked at a pant, you wished for that, went for one, bought back 4. Similarly it can be for everything. Now at least clothes are, maybe you can say something very small. You buy a house, you are already living in one house, you buy another house. Investment, I buy one more house. Then you feel, no, third, someone is giving me a plot of land, it's quite less. Someone is telling, no, after 10 years it will be developed like anything, you will earn in lakhs and crores. I buy a third house. So you see, this is how 4th, 5th, like this we keep on increasing. Now, what is wrong in this? The thing is, when we keep on increasing such things, living as per our needs is okay, maybe one level high, a luxurious life is fine. But then when we keep increasing our wants and needs, that's where a lot of complications take in. And we never have time to do something for ourselves because our whole life is engrossed in taking care. Now if you have got, instead of one house, if you have got 5 houses, we don't have time to maintain one house, you end up maintaining 5 houses till your last breath. And when we get old, what happens is, now you are worried. I've got 2 children, whom should I divide it and give? What will they do with my property, this, that? And that's how the person finally dies. What he did through his life is, all 5 houses he lived, he did not enjoy anything, he just whiled away his time here and there. Ultimately he did not do anything in his life was also waste, but then he has created a lot of confusions and complications also. So here is where doing things, now nobody says, so does this mean I should not buy clothes and a house now, what you are telling? It's not like that, but then setting a control for ourselves. So a very simple example I told you, when you go for shopping, you wanted only one. You say, okay, 1,000 rupees I've kept to buy something for me. You end up spending 5,000 rupees and combine. No, I like this, I like this, I like this. One day you do, one time you do, it is fine. Every time we do this, you're spending your money, at the same time it becomes unnecessary. So this is how pratyahara. So that is, we should set up a control wherein now I should stop. Beyond this, I should not do. It happens even for eating, right? But in the case of eating, when we overeat, our body immediately reacts. Say for example, every day you eat 3 chapatis. You like a sabji that is cooked, you like it very much. Today you eat 4. You still like it, you eat 5. You know beyond 5 chapatis you cannot eat. Still you overeat, ultimately our body starts reacting. We face digestion issues, stomach pain issues and so on. And next time acidity, this, that. Next time it's no, I will not overeat, right? So excess of everything is bad, wherein we cannot set a control on our sense objects. The tongue, because of the taste that is there, I felt like eating more and more, right? Or eyes, you went for shopping, you felt like buying more and more because of your eyes that got attracted. So basically, to bring a control of our sense organs, live as per your needs. Nobody says that you need not, does that mean I should live poor, I should not do anything for your enjoyment? Do things, but excess of anything is bad. So this is what is pratyahara, setting a control. Dharana is nothing but concentration or focus. Whatever we do. Now if you are studying about Yogashastram, full focus has to be here. After 11:30, today what is cooking for dinner? Are we going, today what is cooking for lunch? Are we going out somewhere? When is she going to stop speaking? When will I speak now? This is not dharana. Dharana, full focus is there. Okay, we are learning Ashtanga Yoga. The 6th part is dharana. So full focus on what we do or concentration. Now it is very easy to speak, but then how many of us are actually practicing dharana at this moment? I am also not doing that. None of you are doing that. How come? At the back of our mind, we have so many thoughts that are going on. Some after 11:30, what will I do tomorrow? What will I do? Someone else is speaking something in the other room, or what is cooking? What will? It's like so many plans are going about, right? So though maybe 80 to 90% dharana is here, still 10% we are still roaming about here and there. So to develop full concentration and focus is very very important. That's the sixth part of Ashtanga Yoga. Next is Dhyanam. Dhyanam, now what is Dharana and Dhyanam? Dharana is to set our concentration and focus on something. Dhyanam is the next level of Dharana, wherein now you have set your focus on a particular thing. Now you can say fully meditate upon that, you reflect upon that, whatever you have studied. Say for example now, if you have studied Yogashastram, it should not happen, okay, today I study, I know everything, then I forget. We have to keep reflecting upon that. Very simple example, we have to keep revising what we do. Okay, this week I studied Yogashastram, maybe my next week or so, let me revise whatever I have done so that I remember, I have a good hold over the topic, that is Dhyanam. Last is Samadhi. Samadhi is nothing but, now Samadhi, this state, it literally means to bring in union or to come in union. That is what is Samadhi. Now you might feel that what is Samadhi? How can I do Samadhi? Control of all senses, balance and so on. Now let me tell you one thing. Samadhi doesn't mean death. So we need not fear Samadhi. Though we use Samadhi wherein you can say the ultimate stage or the last stage, still Samadhi doesn't mean that only death. It means wherein we have a full control. Everything has been brought under control. All our senses, all the sages when they have studied Yoga Shastram, when you are an expert of this, at that time all our senses are brought under control. There is nothing that is left. So ultimately that stage is Samadhi, wherein you have realized everything. Now Samadhi, you will feel how practically I will use this. Is it even applicable to me? Just because we don't see things happening around, it doesn't mean that it is not applicable to us. We have so many sages, so many souls who have gone through Samadhi, but of this Ashtanga Yoga, you forget about Samadhi till the last stage. Even if you practice one, that is more than enough, right? Rather than saying more than enough, that also is difficult. You practice even one, Yama. How many of us? Ahimsa, Asteya, Aparigraha, Satya and Brahmacharya. Brahmacharya Ashama, okay, till those who are for Grihasthas it's different, but at least for Brahmachari till roughly the age of 25 or so. Are we able to practice even this 5 fully? No. Yama, all the 5 observances that are there, that also becomes very difficult. At least one anga of Ashtanga Yoga if we do, that also is a great step that we take. This has not been told by me, in the commentaries only it is written. It becomes very difficult for human beings to practice even one anga of Ashtanga Yoga, but at least we must start taking a step. So now Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, they are all said to be external limbs because we have to do from outside. Control on our sense organs, different rules that we observe, asanas, different postures that we do, pranayama, controlling our breath, pratyahara, looking at different things but setting a control, dharana, from inside you concentrate on something, dhyana, fully you meditate on that, samadhi is ultimate stage, last stage of realization. Yes, Sudhaji, you want to say something?
Yama and Pratyahara are just degrees of control of sense organs.
Yes. Now the slight difference between Yama and Pratyahara. Yama is to set a control on our sense organs. You can say at a basic level also. And mainly Yama talks about the 5 qualities. Ahimsa, Asteya, Satya, Brahmacharya, Aparigraha. Pratyahara does not include anything. It is just setting, you can say, wherein our sensory organs come. Like I give you an example of looking at 4 clothes, you feel like buying everything, right? But finally you decide, no, I have to stop, I have to go. You don't look at that, you go ahead. So mainly the Pratyahara is fully only focus on controlling our sense organs. Whereas Yama, it is control our sense organs through these 5. That is Ahimsa, Asteya, Aparigraha, Brahmacharya and Satya. Okay? Anyone else till here? Is everything going good? You want to ask something? Or say something? No? Okay. Let's continue. Now comes the part of Hatha Yoga. Hatha Yoga is the last part of Yogashastram, wherein it is one of the branches of Yoga Sutras. Hatha Yoga. Ha is prana or breath. Tha is chitta. Yoga is to join. So mainly the joining or the union of breath and mind. How we do that? Pranayama, different asanas and so on. physical postures, and this is what India has gifted to the world, mainly yoga. Now, what is it? Now, though in the Patanjali Yoga and in general in Yoga Shastram, we have the mention of Hatha Yoga, but still there is a slight difference between Patanjali Yoga or Patanjali Yoga and Hatha Yoga. Because mainly Patanjali, if you see, he has mainly focused upon the mind, Ashtanga Yoga and so on, whereas Hatha Yoga fully focuses on physical exercise. So that's the reason when we were talking about the introduction only last time, I told you that whenever we listen to the word yoga, there are different branches. Hatha Yoga, or the physical asanas that we do, that is just one part of that. So Hatha Yoga mainly is our external body parts. We bring them down when we do different asanas also. We calm down our physical body so that it can meet with the mind, energy. So mainly it is like wherein you cool yourself or calm down yourself. So mainly our external body we try to unite with our inner self. So that is mainly the use of Hatha Yoga, or the main goal of Hatha Yoga. Further, with regards to Hatha Yoga, there are a few pieces of literature. Goraksha Samhita, Gheranda Samhita, Hatha Yoga Pratipika and Hatha Ratnavali. These are just for extra references. We should know that today if you are practicing so much of physical asanas and so on, there are certain books of literature that are written, and out of this Hatha Yoga Pradipika is quite well known. And this text that is there, Hatha Yoga Pradipika, it is in verse form. It is divided into 4 Upadeshas, that is 4 sections. Asana, different asanas. Shat Karma Pranayama. Pranayama also is divided into 6 parts. Mudra Bandha, different mudras that we practice. Mudras, if you see those who are familiar with acupressure, I told you, or maybe certain mudras you do, like you touch your thumb to certain part of your finger or palm, you see it will not cause heart pain, it will not cause leg pain. Has anyone of you come across all this?
Yes.
Yes.
I
This-
have gone to one mudra.
Yes.
Yes.
Ah.
Lot of mudras.
Lot of mudras, right? Or in today's times we also call someone called healer, right? What's a healer? Or maybe it can be through anything. Like sometimes what people do is, I have come across someone, like it's not directly related to yoga. In my own family I have seen that my aunt or so, what she does is she studying different flowers or so, the study of flowers, through that she tries to heal people and so on. So maybe through the scent or how it is, correct, the Trinetra Mudra that we do during Madhyanikam to see the sun, correct. Or when the boy goes to the Upanayana Samskara, the priest teaches the boy, right, to look at the sun. That is one of the mudras that we do. So, to coming back, so through the study of flowers, also through their smell or the way they look and so on, or perfume scents that they make through that, it's said that healing takes place. I don't know how it exactly happens, but then that is also a science in itself. So mainly this mudra bandhams through different mudras is not a part of yoga, but people heal when we have to heal through different illnesses or disorders. It can happen through everything. Yes, the Reiki and so on, correct. And last stage is of course Samadhi. So Hatha Yoga Pradipika also lastly talks about Samadhi only. Now, though Hatha Yoga and Patanjali Yoga, they deal with body and mind, it is said that the perspective is completely different. Now, why it is said so? Does it mean that both are opposite to each other? It is not opposite to each other, but mainly you can say Hatha Yoga is like, Hatha Yoga all of us are practicing, right? Patanjali Yoga, how many of us are actually practicing? Ashtanga Yoga, how many of us do? It is very difficult. Hatha Yoga, most of us have done Padmasana, Vajrasana, Mandukasana, Ushtrasana. You tell to do now, we are ready. So mainly Hatha Yoga you can say, which everyone is familiar, on an everyday perspective also we can practice. Whereas Patanjali Yoga, it takes some time to bring into this. Slowly in the course of time we try our best to bring. So therefore it is said that the perspective is different, but ultimately the teachings are one and the same. Okay. So with this topic of Yoga Shastram gets over. Okay. Did everyone understand this topic? Is it clear? Yes? Yoga Shastram? Okay. Now next we start with Vedic literature. Okay. Now next the topic was the 4 Vedas that are there. So let's start with that. Let's look at the introduction. Now Vedic literature. Now Vedic literature It is as a part of Sanskrit language. Sanskrit is said to be the language of the gods Devavani, Veda Bhasha and so on. Vedas are there in Sanskrit. That's the reason it is called Devavani, Veda Bhasha. Vedic literature, you can say, is oldest part of Sanskrit literature. So when we say Sanskrit, it has to be the Vedas. Vedas, this word has come from the verb or the kriya padam called vid. Vid meaning to know something. Vid, vidya, veda. So you see, words related to knowledge or knowing things is always associated with the verb veda. Shruti literature. Now Vedas, if you see today's times, maybe about, you can say about 100 or a few years back, few years, or maybe you can consider a century or so, we have books that are available for Vedas. But before that, you see, even today whenever you go to the Gurukula, you have people, they don't have books. They will chant the Vedas. The Shishya, the disciple, repeats after them, and that's how they learn. You have the Saptapadi Prakara. What is a Saptapadi? You can say the Sapta Prakara. What is Sapta? Wherein each line, now this is not limited only to the Vedas. Say for example, we are learning the Gita. The first shloka of the Gita, Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre Samaveta Yuyutsavaha Mamakav Pandavaschaiva Kimakurvata Sanjaya. I want to by heart this verse. Now, okay, I have by hearted it, that's fine. But say for example, you want to by heart. So how people in those times used to study is the first part, Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre. I recite this 7 times. Samaveta Yuyutsavaha 7 times. Mamaka Pand, and then Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre Samaveta Yuyutsavaha 7 times. 7, 7, 7, 21. Second line, Mamaka Pandavaschaiva 7. Kimakurvata Sanjaya 7. Mamaka Pandavaschaiva Kimakurvata Sanjaya 7. 46, 42 times it's already done. Now the entire shloka 7 times. Try to chant it for yourself, try to see, automatically the verse gets by heart. Who has got the time to do all this? So in all, if you see 49 times you chant this entire shloka, you divide it into parts and chant. This method was applicable for the Vedas as well as for shlokas or anything which you wish to by heart and learn in the right way. If you want, you can take it as a challenge for yourselves and try. All of you can surely by heart if you wish to by heart something also. And there is no age for this at all. Though we say that for senior people it gets difficult, but still you can still try, right? So this was a very, very popular method that was used even in Gurukulas. If you go and see, this method is used to by heart something. So Shruti, Shravanam, Shrunoti, all this means to hear something. So the Vedas were always heard by learning. Now not only the Vedas, there were many texts that used to be learned by hearing. Today's times it becomes very difficult. Why so? Now let's take the example of our own class. Now you it's not that you are just listening to me. You can see something in front of your eyes, right? Say for example, I stop sharing my screen. I'm just speaking. All of you are hearing, you will appreciate that. But still, someone might ask, can you show me, or can you just share the notes of this lecture? Or something, can you give us in writing? Can you share the PDF? Now, few of you, when you were about to join this class, you ask, right, can you share the notes? Will notes be given? Will recordings be given? Why do we need a recording? Okay, now I am recording maybe for my own sake, so that all of you can also go back and listen to that. But then why do we need the recording? So that we can listen again. Okay, maybe I missed out on something, or maybe a lot of things were covered, so I just want to go through that. Or maybe after a few months I wish to listen back again. So this is the reason. Yes, correct. Venkatayaji gave the very right answer. Our mind is used to that way. We always need something to see in front of us. We always need something to hear. That's the reason why, a very simple example. How many of you actually write down numbers in your diary? Few of you might be knowing that. What we do, we immediately save in our mobiles, right? Someone tells, okay, dial your mother. We still go to the contacts, we see whatever you have saved, and then we dial. Do we actually dial the number? We don't do that. You go to contacts, search the name, and you make the phone call. Why do we do this? We are used to that, right? So if someone says make a phone call, how many of us actually dial the number? We don't dial the number. You see for yourself, you try. Okay, say, okay, call your brother. We go and search his name in the contact list, and that's how we dial. Or maybe in the recent contacts you have. We don't actually dial the number. You might be knowing the number by heart, still we don't dial. Why? I've already saved it. Why should I dial? Now this is a very practical question that you ask, but you see that in the course of years that we have today, we feel very proud that life has changed, life has become so easy, but you see that we have stopped using our brains, right? Only 10% we use. More than that, why should I put in efforts of even remembering something? But one day when your phone goes away, the phone, you lose your contacts and everything, at that time that small phone diary or the power of remembering numbers becomes handy, right? So this is how our mind has been trained. We are used to this. We need something always in front of us. So now say for example, I tell you, no, I'm not going to share any notes, no recordings, nothing. You just have to listen 1 hour, that's it. You see, you will increase your concentration power more. Now also all of you are listening, but it will be more attentive. Oh, she's not going to tell it again, she's not going to share anything. So you will have a book, notebook, everything, you will note down. Maybe out of 62 people, 40 of them will say, what did you say? I did not listen properly, you repeat please. Right? Why do you do this? Now maybe you miss out something also, you will not ask immediately. No, anyway in the recording it is given or in the text it is given, so I will listen to that, I will note down from there, no problem. But the minute I say no notes are going to be shared, no recording, nothing, we become more attentive, right? So the thing is, it's not, again, I'm not saying it's wrong, or including me also, we are all conditioned that way. That's how we are there. But then the Vedas, or why it is called even Shrutis, Shruti literature is the children who used to study the Vedas in the Gurukula or the sages and so on, why they could master, why they could learn the Vedas was, the Guru will teach you once, you have to keep revising that again and again. Only if you do that, and then automatically focus is going to develop, right? If someone is not going to repeat the same thing, you don't have books in front of you, that's the reason you see it is told that children can learn things fast. Why so? Because they are very good listeners. At the same time, they can forget things also fast. If children don't revise, if you can see this for yourself, your small children, whatever you tell them, they will always note down. We feel that the child doesn't listen. The child is always listening to you. That's the reason it is Shravanam or Shruti, why it is told so much is, ears are the only part of the body which become, you can say, they start functioning even before the child is born. That's the reason you see when we have the Garbha Samskara that is done, that is the 7th or 6th, 7th month, when the woman is pregnant, when we have the Samskara that is done, from that day onwards, you see that the child starts listening to what you're saying. Best example, Prahlada. His mother used to sleep, but Narada, whatever Upadesha he was telling about Lord Vishnu and so on, Prahlada inside the womb started listening to that. That's how he developed bhakti to Lord Vishnu. So he need not, and when he came out of the womb, he was all ready. Nobody had to tell him who is Vishnu, what is bhakti, what is devotion and so on. Right? So, therefore, Shravanam is something which is very, very important, and that is the reason why the ears are the only sensory organs which are kept open. That's why the Creator has made our ears open. You can close your eyes, you can close your nose, close your mouth, close all the other parts of your body, but ears are never closed. Even if you close it, maybe with you put your hands, or you put your earphone, something, still you see, even if you close your ears with both your hands, still you can hear something. Maybe it will not be very clear, but still you hear some sound, right? And why the Lord made it this way is, He said that at least unconsciously, if you listen to something good, you can apply that in your lives. So therefore, hearing, or why the Shrutis are called the Vedas, and why something has been given so much of importance, that we listen to something and learn, this is because ears are considered to be a very important part of the body. So whatever we listen, that is Shrutis. Prahlada is the right pronunciation, not Prahlada. So though now there is, it depends on the way we pronounce, maybe it has an influence of our mother tongue and the place also we live. So but if you see, you have a her and then you have a l inside. So therefore first her should only come, Prahlada. But some people still say Prahlada. Prahlada is little wrong. Rather than saying wrong, you have her first, so that's how it has to be pronounced. Okay, yeah. Next, now what happened is, so you didn't have anything in book form, so you hear, and that's how the knowledge has gone about further. So now of course we have this literature, so you see how rich. We need not be fascinated by anything else in this world. Without books, without anything in front of you, without any recordings, if some knowledge has been passed on from one generation to the next generation just by hearing, that to such rich knowledge, the 4 Vedas. Now here most of us, maybe you are familiar with a few Vedic chants that are there. Maybe you know there are 4 Vedas. Beyond that we don't know anything. And there are so many branches of Vedas. When we look about this topic, we'll see that in later. So many categories in that. Further, there are so many people out in this world who don't even know. Some people know, oh, there are 4 Vedas. Beyond that, people don't know anything. 4 Vedas are there, that also how many of us know, we never know. Again, it's not just to blame someone, but then when something has been passed on from so many generations just through oral tradition, that itself shows the greatness of this literature. And we don't have to be proud of anything else. You can be proud of your own culture, your own literature, your own knowledge. Not just to feel proud, this is something which is very much true, right? We hear so many things. Now I heard something, maybe after an hour or so I forget that. Something which has been heard, which has been by-hearted, which has been passed on from one generation to another through oral tradition. You don't have anything in writing, you don't have any records, you don't have some recordings or so, but still if it has been passed about, that itself shows the greatness. About a century or so you have now books and everything, but still today it becomes difficult for us. We have everything, still we are not able to learn. So that is our sad story. So therefore later it was compiled in a written form, but originally the literature was in oral form only. Now the person Vyasa, Veda Vyasa as we call him, he is the compiler of these Samhitas. Samhitas or Vedas, same word. Now note the difference of compiler. Vyasa, though we say Veda Vyasa or Sage Vyasa, this is not a proper noun. It's not the name of one person. Vyasa literally means the compiler. So it is like a title that is given, or even position, correct. Even Indra for that matter. Though we say king of gods, it is the name of that position. Brahma also keeps changing. Though we say Lord Brahma, that is also temporary. So Vyasa is a compiler of the 18 Puranas. He is the one who has written Mahabharata. He is the one who is a compiler of Vedas. So you see the time period. Now for the Mahabharata and Veda Vyasa, it is the same. So all the Vedas were scattered here and there. All that he compiled into 4 Vedas. He said them Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sama Veda. Later Atharva Veda was also added. So he was who made things easy by categorizing what was there in raw form. Or even the Puranas, 18 Puranas, they were there in raw form. He segregated them into 18 Puranas, 18 more Upapuranas, and so on. Now, and the Mahabharata, of course, more than 1 lakh verses. Now it is said that the Vyasa who compiled the 4 Vedas that we study today, or that we have today, Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasa, and the person who wrote the Mahabharata, they are one and the same. But with regards to the Puranas, there are said to be a few different Vyasas. This same Vyasa, who is a compiler of the 4 Vedas and the Mahabharata, that is one Vyasa, it is said, and a few Puranas, but then you see the time period of all the 18 Puranas, it is different. So the same Vyasa will not do the compilation of all the 18 Puranas. Puranic differences little can be up and down. That is the reason why those who are little familiar with the Puranas, you know that some stories are contradictory, or with regards to the Vedas, when you compare, little you have some problems here and there. Some problems, or you can say some versions of the story are different. Like I'll give you a very simple example. Those who are familiar with the Ramayana, when we see the story of Vishwamitra. In Vishwamitra, when he tries to send a person called Trishanku to heaven, you have a character there called Sunakshepa. This is there in the Valmiki Ramayana. The same thing in the Puranas, that person is called Harishchandra, Raja Harishchandra. You have the famous movie also. So here you see, story remains the same, but the name of the character changes. So when such things come in, at that time what happens is that we see that little maybe the Vyasa, who was a compiler of the Vedas and Mahabharata and a few Puranas, he might be different, because in the course of time, now for this, now you should not feel that what should we believe then, is everything false? It's not like that. Now maybe let's take a very good example. I say something, I have a few points about a particular topic. About the same topic, maybe my brother will have something, his own opinion, or your grandmother had opinion about a particular thing, your mother had an opinion, you have opinion, your son has an opinion, and so on. The topic is the same, but our beliefs and opinions about that changes, right? Or in the course of time, there are many things that keep changing. Life keeps changing. Now we had just the pandemic that went about, right? So life was different before that, today life has changed a bit. Or maybe there were many things that we know that we did not know before the pandemic. Now we are very much used to that. Maybe now the best example, the online mode of classes. It's not that things were not there before. We had online mode, Zoom, Skype, this and that. People were not aware much, or we were not using that. Today it has become an everyday part of our lives. So the thing what I'm trying to say is changes can take place. So therefore the same thing has taken place even in the Puranas and the Vedas. So the Vedas and Mahabharata are said to be compiled by one Vyasa. Puranas, few Puranas by the same Vyasa, but some Puranas, because there is a difference in the time period, they're said to be a few more Vyasas who did that. So therefore we must be very aware that Vyasa is not a proper noun, is the name of that position, and he was the one who is a compiler. That's the reason it's not given author, it's said compiler. Vedas are not written by anyone, they are apaurushaya, they were already existing. They are said to be the breath of the Lord, just there was a lot of knowledge that is scattered about, everything has been brought under one. Vyasa has compiled this, that is the reason he is called the compiler of the Vedas. Vedic literature has got 4 Vedas, Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sama Veda, Atharva Veda. What are they in detail? We will look about Vedic literature in the next class. So for today time is up. We have finished with Yogashastram and started with the basics of Vedic literature. We will continue Vedic literature in the next class. Okay. Thank you. Hari Om. Dhanyavadaha.